Hey guys, welcome back to Heiko Shaves. My name is Heiko, and today, as you can see, it's time for another shave. And we have razor royalty here in the house today, the Rex. Actually, the Rex Squared, Rex Supply Co. They make some amazing adjustable razors. And due to a channel supporter, Brian, who sent his ambassador and his Rex Envoy, so Rex Ambassador and Rex Envoy over, I have a full set of Rex razors. So I personally own a Rex Konsul and a Rex Sentry, which are both slant razors. And Brian sent me pretty much the missing link, the Rex Ambassador, which is an adjustable straight close comb razor, and the Rex Envoy, which is the non-adjustable equivalent. And that allows me to compare like with like. So adjustable slant with adjustable straight close comb. And that's what we're gonna do today. So we have two of the Rexes, the Kings, in the house. And then Bill Murphy, channel supporter, long-time channel supporter. He surprises me with little gifts occasionally. So he put in an order with PAA, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, and he sent me a couple items. One is a absolutely lovely scented, not a shave product per se, but this is a argan oil body soap. I have had the body soap bar before and it was lovely, and it's mentholated and smells really fresh, and it's it's really nice. So I got this from Bill, and then Bill also, he watches my videos and he keeps hearing me complain about Cella. That Cella makes a lovely almond scented shave soap, but they don't make a matching aftershave balm or aftershave. So the aftershave balm is very generic scent. It doesn't smell anything like the soap. But apparently PAA makes a aftershave / cologne, which is, it's kind of funny how they do that sometimes. So it's aftershave cologne, but it doesn't really have any further description on the box. So what scent it is or what it's called. On the bar soap here, they have a sticker on here, which is the awesome sauce, and then the argan oil body soap. Yeah, but here on this box, there is no real product description to speak of. So let's get the bottle out so we can see what it is. Big old bottle. It's the Cella Cool. So the Cella Cool is an aftershave cologne, and it's also mentholated, but it is kind of the almond marzipan matching the Cella shave soap, which I like so much. And where I always complain, like every time we shave with it, I always complain that this doesn't match. So now we have a set that actually complements each other. And I can already smell it. It's oozing out of this bottle. And they always have a little lid on there that you have to peel off, but it's already coming out. Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, very marzipan, Christmassy. It's not Christmas time, don't get me wrong, but just the scent of marzipan and almonds is just very lovely to me. So since we have the two Rexes, the Rex Supply Ambassador and the Rex Supply Konsul in the house, we're diverting from our standard. So we're not using a Persona or Wilkinson or a feather blade. We're actually going to use a Rex blade. I just noticed that I have an open package with just two brand new, fresh Revisit Excellence. Yeah, we're gonna revisit Excellence. We'll see. I also picked a red towel today. So we're gonna be shaving, at least initially, first pass with both of those razors on setting 6. We're going to compare which of those two on setting 6 is actually the more aggressive, the more bladey, the more violent razor. So we're gonna set them exactly at 6. So we have, similar settings here. Slant razor and close comb, straight close comb. And let's just load up the blades real quick here. So both of them are kind of the same. You take the top off, you see the alignment tabs. At the bottom, you always have Rex Supply and made in the United States, and then a serial number. Yep, right there. So both are the same that way. So this here is the Ambassador. Let's grab blade number 1. Get that out of the paper. These are double wrapped, so they have one wrapping just for advertisement or the branding on it. And then the other one is always wax paper. So apparently wax paper that gets used in a kitchen because it's good for baking is also a little bit more cut resistant than non-waxed paper. So when the blade is in the package, it doesn't cut through that wax paper. All right, let's see if we can get this here all loaded. And how are we looking here? Alignment wise. Yeah. Looks great. Does it? Yes. So setting 6, that's the ambassador. Let's grab the blade number 2. Blade number 2. There we go. There is a little bit of wax on those blades, so there's a couple little dots of wax, and some people don't like that because then you get the wax on your razor and then you have to scrub it to get it off. Doesn't bother me, but some people have mentioned that before, that they don't like that and they rather have blades with no wax on it. Yeah, so I've complained about this before. So the Konsul, since it's a slant razor, the cap is kind of slanted. The alignment tabs in the top cap are actually too short to interface when the blade is sitting flat on it. So they're not holding the blade in alignment right now. And that is not very helpful when you're trying to assemble the whole thing. And then you always have to wiggle it a little bit until this all falls in place. But then I think we have... do we have it all aligned here? Maybe. Yeah, that's the only complication with a Rex Konsul. Yeah, now we got it. All right, and number 6. So since we're using PAA aftershave, we're using a very inexpensive Cella shave soap today. I figured we're gonna go with a PAA pre-shave here, the tube. This, the ice tube. I have 2. I always get the names mixed up. So there's the tube 2.0 that's with charcoal in it. That supposedly has a exfoliating effect. And then the ice tube. And we're going to use that. Sink's already filled here. Razor blades are installed. Let's get the skin moist. Like that. Oh, I got the little porcelain colored shave bowl out. They used to sell that on Amazon. It's non-breakable, so you can drop it on the floor. It's some sort of plastic that has a nice dull texture to it. Helps with the lathering process. And we're using my, one of my favorites, the M7 Simpson. Very nice. Synthetic brush. Oh, we're already dry again, huh? I talk too much sometimes. So the proper way of using the ice tube, they also have that in cube shape. So if you wanted to have a PAA cube sitting on your sink, they even have a little holder for the cube. I have never owned one. I only know it from other people's reviews. But it's in principle the same product. You're supposed to wash your face with it first and then reapply it. But I just skip that step. So we're going right into pre-shaving here. As you can see, this lathers really well. One of these days I'm going to try to shave with pre-shave. I bet I can. But not today. So pre-shave applied. And now we're going to grab our Cella. As you can see, heavily worked on this already. My little scooper here from shavenation.com. It's a tiny little teaspoon shaped thing. This gets the right amount out of your soap container. And I squished it to the bottom of the shave bowl there. And then let's close off the soap container so we don't get that contaminated. And then since the M7 Simpson here is a synthetic knot, we just need to get it wet. And then I usually just squeeze out the excess. And then we're going to start lathering. Yeah, sometimes the soap comes loose at the bottom there of the shave bowl, but it's no big deal. Even if you're gonna have a chunk hanging in your brush here, it really doesn't make any difference. It's still the soap, right? The almond scent of this soap is just heavenly lovely. And this is now with the PAA Cella Cool. As you see, they don't spell Cella the same way. I guess they do that for, avoiding some sort of patent infringement, product name infringement, whatever. But yeah, PAA, they pick up long forgotten products or they pick up products that, you know, kind of have fallen out of favor or nobody's really paying attention to it, and they put their own twist to it, improve upon it, and then put it out maybe with a, you know, interesting art on it, or, you know, a different ingredient list. They try to improve the product. And here in this case, it's mentholated. So my pre-shave is mentholated. The soap, of course, isn't, or not of course, there are mentholated soaps out there, but this one isn't. And then we're gonna follow this up with a mentholated aftershave cologne by PAA. All right, that looks already really good. So I always scrape off a little bit, or else I'm just gonna be slinging this all around myself. Look at that, how thick and creamy that is already. If it gets too thick and creamy, you can always add a little bit of some water to it. And now there is so much on the brush. And we can really lay it on here thick. And with this knot here, this is, I think it's a 22 millimeter. I don't smear myself that in the nostrils. Every time I grab something larger than a 22, I just smear it into my nose, and then I have to sneeze and all that stuff. And then, you know, it's just not very lovely. All right, so let's do Konsul on the right, Ambassador on the left. Shouldn't make a big difference. So setting 6, so I have to keep in mind to be careful. Low pressure. We're just gonna go with the grain here, first pass. Let's zoom in right out of the gate a little bit. There you go. Konsul, slant razor. I am a big fan of slant razors. I'm a big fan of open combs. I'm pretty much a fan of any good razor. These here are special, to me at least, made in the US by a company that has been supportive of this channel. That shouldn't create a bias, but I'm a fanboy, you know. Rex Supply, they put out some great products. This is really heirloom quality. They stand behind their products. They individually serialize those, so in 20 years you still can find out when they were made. Yeah, overall, this is a bladey endeavor. I've talked about this before, the radius of the blade. So the Rex razors, they all do a really good job laying the blade into a relatively tight radius, which then puts the blade at a very shallow angle of attack, which makes those razors slice really well, and they're not scrapey. So that was 3 days of shaving, or 3 days of not shaving. So this was 3 days of not shaving. And a Rex Konsul with a Rex blade in it. By the way, those blades are fairly sharp. Does a really good job taking it down. And now we're switching to the Rex Ambassador on the left side, also setting 6. I verified that one more time. Feels different. I explained that before. So when you have a slant razor, instead of the blade just going here, let me use my typical cardboard. So instead of the blade going at a perpendicular angle straight down your face, you have a little bit of a angle, and that angle helps the blade slice. So sometimes people feel that a straight close comb razor is a little bit more scrapey than a equivalent slant razor. And this one here actually has more blade exposure. I can tell this is a little bit more positive blade exposure than the Konsul. It feels more bladey. That's my term, I coined that, bladey. But it does a good job, it takes it down. So I will, after the first pass here, let's do a quick little comparison. Oh, it's fairly similar, hard to tell, but I think we have a pretty good result on both sides. With the magic of video editing, I will pull up the Rex Ambassador and Rex Konsul webpage here real quick, or Razor Emporium, which is the retail side of the house, and just take a quick look at the technical data. All right, so the Rex Konsul starts at $349, as I had mentioned before. I think in the Ambassador video I made a mistake and actually mentioned a too high of a price. So made in the United States, marine grade stainless steel, the Konsul is. Blade neutral feel, so a neutral exposure. I just mentioned the positive blade exposure of the Ambassador. So the Konsul is listed here as a neutral, and it's a slant. I thought they had the blade gaps listed. That doesn't seem to be the case. So setting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I wanted to see what the blade gaps are. Let's go and look at the Ambassador real quick. So here's the Envoy. Here is the Ambassador is slightly cheaper. $295 is the starting price. So the standard, there's a polished version, the Deluxe Gold, the Deluxe Rhodium, and then the Prospector series. The Prospector, I think, $445. Let's see the double-edged safety razor, made in the United States. Yeah, here on the Ambassador side, they have all the blade gaps listed. So in inches, 0.012 is 0.5 setting. And then why can I not look at the whole page here? Let's do desktop view. That helps. So at 6.5, that's the highest setting. It's 0.052 inches or 1.32 millimeters. At the lowest setting, it's 0.3. So they add a little bit over a millimeter in blade gap. Yeah, that's kind of a shame that they don't have that on the Konsul page, because those razors, they could be so easily compared to each other. Also in the Ambassador page here, I cannot find any mention of the blade exposure, customizable shaving experience, tugging, pulling, skin irritation commonly found with multi-blade razors, maximum weight, sure grip, handle. Yeah, the handle on the Ambassador is amazing. So in the Ambassador page, it says the Ambassador is infinitely adjustable, making it easy to find the best possible blade exposure for the skin. Yeah, actually really increasing the blade gap, but not the blade exposure. But yeah, from just feeling it compared with the Konsul feels a little milder, even though blade gap wise, I think they're pretty similar. I would say the Konsul even has a larger blade gap at setting 6. So here, both at setting 6, you can see that there is a larger blade gap, but the Konsul has less blade exposure. This one has a larger, you know, the typical line between the base plate and the top cap. If the blade sticks out beyond that, which it does, we're talking about a positive blade exposure. And here on the Konsul, it's a neutral. There's nothing sticking out. All right, let's lather up one more time after we looked at it. So $295 for the Ambassador, $349 for $295 and $349 for the Konsul. Oh, the almond scent is just lovely. I don't know, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I love it. There's a little bit of a background story. So my grandmother, even though she knew I don't like marzipan, she would religiously every year for Christmas give me some marzipan candy or chocolate or whatever. And I didn't really like it as a kid. Now as an adult, I like it. And I love the scent of it. Marzipan. I wish that stuff would be edible. Very nice. All right, so second pass. I think we're gonna stay at number 6, setting 6 here on the Konsul. And we're going across the grain. Very good. Upper lip, I have to be careful. I have this wrinkle here, right? And I'm afraid that I might catch that. Very good. And then down here, we're going to go with the grain. This is pretty much my 2-pass routine. And now we're going to switch to the ambassador, setting 6. All those names are diplomatic service in some shape or form. I've actually made a name suggestion to Matt Pisarcik before. He hasn't used it yet, but we'll see. Maybe one day we're going to see a razor. Maybe an open comb. Hey, Matt, if you're watching, make an open comb. Turn one of those in an open comb. Maybe start with this ambassador and then maybe make an open comb slant one of these days. I would be a big fan of that attempt. All right, here we go, across the grain. I mean, I can totally understand why they don't, because I think open comb in the whole world of DE razors, open comb are the least sold razors. At least that's from my perspective. That's not a objective thing. It's a subjective thing. I think a lot of people think that open comb razors are more aggressive and harsher and they stay away from them. And then I guess the straight close comb is probably the most common design. And then even slant razors have a little bit of this reputation of, you know, being harsher. But in what I've found in my career here is that slant razors can actually be milder to a certain extent because they do the slicing rather than the going straight down your skin. And yeah, so that's just my opinion. So here in this case, they didn't make the ambassador and the Konsul to, you know, one-on-one compare to each other. So you can see the difference between a straight close comb and a slanted close comb. I mean, a slant razor here is still a close comb. If you like a little bit milder feel, a little bit less blade exposure, I would go for the Konsul. If you like it a little harsher, a little bit more aggressive, I would go with the ambassador for sure. When I first started out and Matt Pisarcik actually sent one over for review, you know, I was really fresh to DE shaving. I think I didn't have the right appreciation for this razor, and I gave it a little bit of a, you know, it's too aggressive. It starts out too harsh, like setting 1 is already aggressive for me. And now look at me about 3 years later, and I am enjoying this thing at setting 6. I don't think I would actually on a daily basis shave at setting 6 because the risk of nicking myself, you know, in the morning at 6 a.m. when I'm kind of foggy brained, I would probably put it somewhere at a 3 or so, like halfway. And yeah, let's just do that real quick. Yeah, at a 3, it feels way less bladey because we're bringing the closed comb base plate up closer to the blade, and that not just reduces the blade gap, but it also changes the geometry. So if I now do the same test again, now there's still positive exposure, but the closer you bring this up, you are changing the angle of that line. And so you're turning if we go to setting 1, for example. So suddenly we have neutral blade exposure. And obviously at a 6, when we go all the way down to the bottom, we have this blade sticking out quite far. So at setting 1, this is still a relatively mild razor. But when I was young and dumb, I had no idea. So this is, after 2 passes, as close as we will get to a BBS. I know I don't look clean, but my skin will not suddenly be, you know, you can still see the stubbles, but I can tell you, there's nothing sticking out. There is nothing left. It's absolutely clean. And both razors accomplish that in their own way, you know. Like I said, this has a little bit less blade exposure, but it has this advantage of the slicing motion, whereas the ambassador is a little bit more like, yeah, I'm going to take this down. So very nice. I always have a little bit of leftover here in the bend of my neck, and the more I shave around on that, the more aggravated everything becomes down there. But just for you guys, we're gonna do a little cleanup pass down here. How about that? So Don't say that Heiko is not trying. Konsul. Let's just do a little bit across the grain here. Still at setting 6, by the way. And I can tell, especially on my neck. My stubbles are kind of growing weirdly. So up here, they're kind of growing down the hill. Down in the lower section, they're growing up the hill. And here in this middle section, they're actually growing kind of towards the left. No, actually to the right. So against the grain is what we're doing right now. So that feels really harsh. Okay, let's do that with the ambassador on the other side. Setting, what are we at? 6, right? I hope I'm not gonna... Well, I think I just nicked myself. So for those kind of endeavors here, it's a little on the harsh side. And you know what? Everyone is different. I am not the standard here. So maybe I can do a setting 6 and you might not be able to, but that's fine. That's why this is an adjustable razor. I'm just giving you the, I don't want to call it the worst case scenario, but I want to present how aggressive or how manageable a setting 6 is. And then you know that if you go down from a setting 6 to a 3 or a 2 or a 1, this razor will be milder. But comparing this and this, I can for sure say that this has a little bit less blade exposure, and therefore in any setting it will feel a little milder than the ambassador. So that I stick to. This was my impression when I first started shaving with this ambassador in the very beginning of my channel career here. And then eventually I got the Konsul and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so in love with the slant razors. And for a little while I was really drawn to slant razor. So there is the Yachi Ultima slant. I can't recognize it. Here it is. And then we have a timeless aluminum slant, which is really nice. Then I have the Merkur 37. I have the Razor Rock German 37, I think they call it. Yeah, I don't see any more slant razors here. Oh yeah, I have the Sentry, which is really lovely to use. I feel like I'm missing one. There is a Yachi 37 or equivalent somewhere. Maybe it's not. No, it's sitting right here. So we have the Yachi version of the Merkur 37. This is all stainless steel, by the way. And then the next slant razor that I almost forgot is one of my favorite slant razors, which looks the most extreme, which is the Yachi Torx. So slant razors are really my cup of tea, but I also enjoy most everything else. I've talked about the Parker variant open comb, which is a clone of a Merkur Progress. The Progress was never available as an open comb, so they came out with this really fine tooth open comb, and this thing is absolutely lovely. We're gonna do a shave here sooner or later with my Dusty. Yeah, very dusty. Oh my goodness, my poor little razor here. This is a Merkur 41 C for chrome. They all have a C, so 34C, 41C. C just means chrome. 41 open comb, and it is a very like a vintage traditional design, very stubby short handle, pencil handle here, and then an open comb. And you know, it looks menacing because it's an open comb, but it really isn't. It's a, you know, it's a nice mild little daily shaver, very inexpensive, and I love it. So that was a tangent here. We were talking about the Konsul and the Ambassador. So both razors, they are in the $300 to $400 range. You can get them as fully polished or plated in different colors. And they are both absolutely well made, well crafted, well machined on, you know, fancy CNC multi-axis machines. This one here is the Pinecone knurling design, and this here is the absolute non-slip. I mean, this is almost feels harsh when I do this, but you will not drop this razor. You could have two bar soaps holding onto this handle and it would not slip out. So this is absolute non-slip design here. Very well made. Let's just weigh him for comparison's sake. So the Konsul is 106.7 And the Ambassador is 106.3. So they are almost, dropped my holder here off the ledge. So anyways, they're both identical, 106 grams. So hefty, weighty. They haven't made any out of titanium. I've talked about this before. Titanium is a little bit more tricky to machine and to get good finish out of it. Yeah, so, and then also the question is, how big is the market for an even more expensive adjustable razor? So let's say these are $300 a piece, or $350 and $300, and a titanium would be $500. How many people would be actually willing to buy one? Not just saying they will, but they actually go and spend the money on it. You know, that's always the downside of going too exotic and too expensive in manufacturing and all that. Next time, we're going to stay with the Rec Supply theme here for a little while longer. I want to use the opportunity here. Brian sent me his Ambassador and his Envoy. There's still a blade in there. I just used it recently. We're going to compare the Sentry, Rex Sentry, and the Rex Envoy in the next video. All right? So you guys look forward to that. And let's rinse off. My goodness. Very nice. The soap has really good residual slickness. So it takes a while to wash it off. And now we're going to grab this Cella Cool. Cella Cool, alcohol-based, purified water, essential fragrance oil. I don't know what Hedione is. Aloe vera, liquid silk, and menthol. All right, let's take this little lid off here. And they have one of those plastic reducers in there, so you're not accidentally dumping the entire bottle on your hand. That's appreciated. Oh yeah, almond alcohol for sure. A little bit of a tingle. Let's take some more. Oh yeah, that's is much better match than the Cella aftershave balm. Lovely. So this is almond scented. So I would say there is a slight difference. So this is a little bit more like the fruity, sweet marzipan scent. And this is a little bit more the natural almond, you know, the almond oil or whatever scent. But man, is that lovely. And the little tingle that we are getting from the alcohol in it. And then you guys know that after harsh aftershave, alcohol base, I always do a little bit post skincare. So either I just grab a generic, I just put it away. Here we go. Then Nivea, or Nivea as we Germans would say, Nivea aftershave balm, or I just grab my little glycolate here. I just like to put a tiny little dab on my fingertip here, and then I do this, and then I just, you know, these are the problem zones in my face. So I don't smear it everywhere, just where it's needed. And my skin is absolutely happy. Feels good, clean, soft, nice. Thank you, Brian, for sending your razors over. And I promise I will not keep them. I will eventually, after all those comparisons, send them back to you. It's going to be a tough one because the Ambassador and the Envoy are really nice razors. Bill, thank you so much for the Awesome Sauce body soap. And this lovely Cella with CH, Cool, Cella Cool Aftershave and Cologne. This is lovely. Man, this is really good. And this is finally a decent match with this soap here. I love this soap and I love this aftershave. And these are now going to be paired together. Maybe I can still use the Cella Aftershave Balm just as a generic skincare product because it really doesn't smell anything like almonds at all. But yeah, man, this is really a nice product. And look at this large bottle here. How much is in here? 100 milliliters. So this is hopefully going to last me a little while. You guys know how much I love the Awesome Sauce product from PAA. That's why, look at this. I mean, every time I want to smell like, similar to Proraso Green. Very similar to Proraso Green, kind of the mentholated, the fresh, the green, the, you know, then I just put that on, because this is also an aftershave cologne, so the scent will last a little longer. If I just use my Purasso Green aftershave, this fades away so fast. And then I splash on, awesome sauce afterwards, just to make it last a little while longer. And as you can see, I'm burning through this stuff, burning through it. Anyways, so 2 great razors, different feel, different kind of shaving technique, how they get to the clean result. And it's for different people. If you like an adjustable that it feels a little milder, it has a neutral blade exposure, or you want the one that really goes through the stubbles and just hacks it off, it's the Ambassador. Both are great. Both are really easy to handle. Put them down to setting 1 and you're going to be happy. Even as a beginner, I would say this might be a little bit more bladey than this one. But, different tastes. I never saw myself as someone who can actually shave with one of those razors at setting 6. If I would have tried this 3 years ago, I probably would have peeled off my face. No longer. So I can do this and not have massive razor burn and irritation and such. So you can get there too. Just give it a while. Find something mild to start out with. Get your technique down. Remember, pressure is key. So you don't want to have pressure on your skin. You don't want to push that razor deep into your skin. You just let the blade do the work and the weight of the razor right along your face. And that is absolutely contrary to cartridge razors, right? Any of the cheap cartridge razors that I take on vacation sometimes, I always have to push down and multi blade buffing like crazy until I get a result that I actually enjoy. And that then leads to irritation and razor burn and all that kind of stuff. With those razors, you go 1, 2, maybe 3 passes and gentle, very little pressure, and you get a really clean, soft skin face. All right, enough rambling. Guys, thanks for watching. If you have comments, suggestions, complaints, if you have a razor that you somehow have problems with and you want to see me struggle with it, find my email address on a proper browser. Go into my channel information. There's an email address. Get in touch with me. You can send it over. I will promise to always give it a full-on cleaning and disinfecting before I send it back to you. And then you can see me struggle with your razor. How about that? Or if you have some gear that you completely want to get rid of, but you want to see me review it or cut my face up with it, just send it over to me. I appreciate it. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Brian, for this great content, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.